My daughter, Lily, died in my arms. At that exact moment, my fiancé, Ryan, was celebrating another girl's birthday. I saw the video. He looked so well-mannered. After jumping off the hospital roof with Lily in my arms, I woke up in the year I married Ryan. I was back to my 23rd birthday. That day, Ryan introduced me to Daisy for the first time. She was the granddaughter of a distant relative. Her parents had passed away, and she came here to study. I felt sorry for her. In my past life, I truly treated Daisy like a sister, feeling bad for her sad story. Whatever she looked at in my room, I gave her without a second thought. Later, with a face full of anger, she told me, "Do you think you're being kind? Your charity only makes me look worse, and do you know what I want most? I want Ryan. If you're so generous, then give him to me." "Clara, what's wrong?" Right then, Ryan was looking at me gently, all his attention on me. In my past life, how long had it been since he even looked at me directly? Maybe a year, maybe two. He loved wearing white shirts. His face had sharp features and his eyes sparkled. He was the kind of guy girls would fall for, the kind of guy who appeared in every girl's young dreams. I had once fallen for him too. My whole youth was about him. We got married and had a daughter. I never imagined that while I was taking care of our daughter at home, he would be sleeping with Daisy on a business trip. When our daughter got very sick and was waiting for him in the hospital, he was celebrating with Daisy. It was hard for me to believe that the man who never came home or cared for his wife and child had once been this young, attentive guy. Our parents were already planning our wedding. But when did he start liking Daisy? And why did he marry me? I didn't know. Maybe while I was happily in love, his love for me had disappeared a long time ago. All that was left was what was practical: two families joining together, sharing resources, making our family more important. Who cared if he was faithful after marriage? Who cared if he loved me? I moved his hand away, saying, "I'm not feeling well. You guys continue without me. I want to go home." Everyone looked at each other, confused, because this was a birthday party he had planned for me. How could I just leave like this? Also, the next part was when Ryan was supposed to propose to me. It was going to be very romantic. The tallest building in the city would light up with "Clara, marry me," cycling the whole night, even becoming popular online. But I really didn't care about anyone's feelings right now. When my daughter died in my arms, it was just her and me in this world. Daisy looked at me shyly and then turned to Ryan. "Is Clara upset because of me? Maybe I should leave. I know my background isn't good. I don't deserve to be friends with Clara." I looked at her, then at Ryan, and didn't say a word. If they wanted to be together, they could. I no longer had any hope or love for Ryan. Daisy's appearance might just prove that saying, "Childhood sweethearts can't compare to someone who appears suddenly." I didn't want to look at them. I grabbed my bag and went home. I was reborn. I wouldn't make the same mistakes. As soon as I got home, Ryan followed me. He grabbed me and said, "Clara, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have brought Daisy over. I know you don't like strangers, but Daisy, she's all alone here studying with no friends. If I didn't bring her, she would—" "Let's break up," I said calmly. "What?" His eyes widened in disbelief. "I don't like you anymore," I said. "Why? Have you fallen for someone else?" he asked quickly. "Is there something I did wrong? Tell me, and I'll change." Those were the exact words I had spoken in my past life, begging him to come back after I found out he was with someone else. At that time, he had coldly pulled away from me, his jawline looking sharper as he said, "I don't love you anymore. Nothing you do will change that." My dad and stepmom came out and asked, "What's going on with you two?" I said to them, "I want to break up with him. We won't get married. Cancel the wedding." My dad, in a fit of anger, slapped me. "You're 23 now. Can't you think before you speak? The invitations have already been sent out and you want to cancel the wedding? Ridiculous." My stepmom's usual cold smile flashed across her face before she quickly hid it. "You shouldn't hit the child, even if she's wrong." My mom died when I was young, and less than a year later, my stepmom came, pregnant. I had a hard time growing up, but Ryan always protected me. His being there showed everyone I would be his future wife. Anyone who caused me trouble would be challenging our family. Who wouldn't love a prince who promised to protect them? But all his kindness became the sharpest blades that wounded me after he changed his mind, every stab hitting me directly. Uncle, Aunt, let me talk to her, Ryan said. Adults always trusted him. We went upstairs and he followed me into my room. As soon as we entered, he held me, his breath warm in my ear, and softly asked, "What's wrong, baby? What have I done to make you unhappy?" Because I lost my mom early, I've always been sensitive. My dad hit me so hard once that I lost hearing in one ear. For a long time, I didn't speak, and everyone thought I was mute. Only Ryan was patient, always comforting and encouraging me. Maybe he hadn't changed. His gentleness hadn't disappeared, it just moved to another girl. "I'm serious." I pushed him away and said firmly and calmly, "I've thought about this for a long time, for years." Yes, ever since I got pregnant. He had been traveling a lot for work, doing overtime. He didn't answer calls or reply to messages. When he did come home, his favorite place was his study. That heavy door, a tightly shut heart. At that time, Daisy's social media started to give things away. She was a college student, and her check-ins always matched Ryan's business trips. In those fancy meal photos, you could see glimpses of his watch and cufflinks. It was obvious Ryan was with Daisy when he wasn't home. I thought about divorce, but I couldn't bear it. I couldn't let go of his past kindness. But in my past life, the price I paid for those sweet moments was my life. Now that the heavens gave me a second chance, I shouldn't betray myself again. He looked even more disbelieving, his eyes immediately turning red. That wasn't fake sadness. He stumbled back a step, his voice hoarse. "So, while I was planning our future with all my heart, you were thinking of breaking up with me?" I looked at him. "But when I gave everything to our marriage, you were with another woman. Even when our daughter was sick, you didn't change at all. So, these past years, what was I in your heart? A caring older sister? You only had sibling feelings for me, no romantic love?" "Ryan, don't act all heartbroken. I'm telling you, in our relationship, I was the one who was always let down. I'm just trying to stop my losses now." I sighed, my eyes filled with tears. "Maybe now you do truly love me, but the price I paid for that love was too high. Your changes later made it hard for me to connect the future you with the present you." Wiping away a tear, the heavens gave me another chance, and I want no more ties with you. To family and friends, it looked like I'd gone crazy, insisting on a breakup. My dad slapped me several times and cut off all my credit cards. He was trying to use money to force me to give in. I moved out with just a few things. Thankfully, even though my grandparents had passed away, their house was still there. Looking at that old apartment building, I felt a sense of belonging I had long missed. After Mom died, my grandparents were heartbroken and often brought me back here to stay. Dad and my stepmom were, of course, happy to have me out of the picture. When I was 6, my grandparents passed away one after the other. It wasn't until high school that I could return here without worry. The old house was dimly lit, but warm and peaceful. I quietly looked at old photos. The people in the world who loved me most were here once, but now they were gone. Other than this house, my grandparents left me some savings. I went to the mall and contacted the cemetery. Mom and my grandparents were buried together. Next to them was a spot I had bought, planning to be buried there when I died. Now it would be for my daughter first. I bought her clothes and shoes and her favorite bell and placed them inside. The staff looked curious but didn't say anything. The tombstone read, "Beloved daughter Lily." No last name because Lily was solely mine. After setting up Lily's headstone, I sat there all afternoon. This place held the 4 most important, most loved people of my life. Now they were all gone. When Mom left, I thought Dad would still be there for me. But soon, he stopped coming home. When he did return, it was with my pregnant stepmom. After that, he was no longer my dad, but someone else's husband and father. Then came Ryan, who became the most important person to me. Unexpectedly, he pulled me out of a bad place only to push me into a worse one. Lily's illness got worse quickly. She was so young, just over 2 years old, constantly getting treatment and crying all the time. When she cried, my heart broke, and I cried with her. Back then, Dad no longer cared about his married daughter. Ryan was busy with business trips with Daisy. Ryan's parents didn't like their granddaughter and didn't want others to know about Lily's illness. I stayed with her every day, knowing her time was short. I just wanted her short life to be as comfortable as possible. Looking back, it wasn't me taking care of her. It was she who was taking care of me. If it weren't for her soft body, bright eyes, and warm little hands giving me the last bit of warmth in the world, I might have already jumped off a tall building. But now, strangely, I've gone back to the time before I married Ryan. Maybe the heavens heard my dying wish and gave me another chance. That evening, I saw Ryan at the door. He looked tired, his eyes bloodshot, cigarette butts all over the ground. He never used to smoke, only starting after we got married. "You started smoking?" I asked for some reason. "I always could, just didn't want you to smell it, so I rarely smoked," he replied hoarsely. I nodded. "Can we talk?" I nodded and let him in. "I had a dream last night." He glanced around as I turned on the air freshener. He continued. "I dreamt that we didn't break up and got married as planned. We had a sweet life, but after I got pregnant shortly after, you were with another woman." I finished for him. "I ended up giving birth alone, even calling the ambulance myself when my water broke. The child got very sick, and you only visited once. After our daughter died, I killed myself by jumping off a building." He looked at me shocked. "That was just a dream. Did you have the same dream too, and that's why you want to break up with me?" "Clara, believe me, I wouldn't betray you. I only see Daisy as a helpless sister. There's nothing between us. That's your dream, one where you lived carefree and happy, but for me, it was a lifetime. Ryan, do you really think it was just a dream?" He tried to explain quickly. "Clara, I don't understand how I could suddenly become that way. It was like I was possessed, but I love you. I only love you. Over 10 years of feelings can't just disappear. I can't understand the person I was in that dream. He's not me, he just has my face." I cried and laughed at the same time. "Yeah, over 10 years of love just gone like that. Yeah, that man who wasn't home when I was pregnant, he just looks like Ryan. The boy I loved from the beginning, he was already gone at 18, maybe 21. Only I kept thinking he was still alive, thinking that as long as the breeze could lift his white shirt and he smiled at me with those kind eyes, he'd always be there. But when did he suddenly die without any sign? Maybe there were signs. Back then, his work got busier and busier. More and more social events, often coming home smelling of smoke and alcohol in the middle of the night. As for me, I got a job at a government office after we got married. Work was simple and routine. I didn't understand his business talk. To him, my boring job was a sign I had no ambition. He had less and less to say to me. After the initial sweet days together, it turned into boredom and tiredness. As soon as the phone rang, he would grab his coat and leave. I tried to share interesting things with him, but he went from listening carefully to gradually losing interest. When did we start running out of things to talk about? Back when we were dating, we talked about home, school, movies, books, outings, future plans. I'd be laughing, joking around, and he'd just look at me gently with so much attention. But when that future arrived, he went silent, leaving me in the same place, talking endlessly without realizing he couldn't stand it anymore. His circle of friends grew, late-night excuses became more and more strange until he just stopped coming home. After I got pregnant, one weekend he worked late and I brought him a meal to his office. It was a scene I dreamed of as a young girl, him at work, me bringing food, keeping him company, then going home together. Many people complain about waiting for a long time. I thought, if there's still a lover to wait for, that's happiness. Then, through the glass, I saw Daisy in a white dress, her long hair down, sitting on his lap, him feeding her lovingly like she was a child. Daisy looked so fragile, pale, with a kind of delicate beauty. That was the day I met another version of myself, one so upset, and saw his cold, cruel heart. I fell, bled, but the baby was okay. After that, neither Daisy nor he felt any need to hide. Everyone knew about them. He said, "Clara, look around at our friends. Which man isn't fooling around?" Your dad, my dad, what's the big deal? Our love is still here. What good does making a scene do for you? Do you have another home to go to? Who can you find after leaving me, and how do you know they'll stay faithful? I know you hate those social events, but I need someone with me. Back then, I thought about divorce over and over, but then I remembered his kindness, like in high school when he balanced a company internship, school competitions, and still helped me with my homework. In college, when I had a high fever, alone in the old house over winter break, half awake, he broke down the door, carried me to the hospital, and stayed by my side all night. My dad's slaps, my stepmom's taunts, he bravely protected me from them. I couldn't let go. I thought maybe love was never easy. Maybe in life's long journey, someone will get lost. The one who's still there should guide, save, wait. People say if a child had a tough upbringing, they approach love more carefully, entering relationships cautiously. I was very cautious. But once I fell deeply in love, the small warmth he gave melted my frozen heart, especially with so much companionship and care since we were young. So I waited, thinking he'd come back eventually. Instead, I got his endless nights out, me alone holding Lily, crying my eyes out. He said, "You did nothing wrong. It's just our lives are going in different directions now. Clara, you're staying the same, but I've embraced a new world. You can't keep up with me." I'm afraid of heights. But that day, on the high ledge, I felt a sense of relief like never before. No more sleepless nights, no more heart-wrenching pain, no more waiting for someone who's never coming back. But it was too late. The moment Lily died, we were done. I wiped my tears and seriously asked him, "Do you even know I had a daughter? Do you know her name was Lily?" He was already crying hard. "Give me another chance, Clara. I really don't know why I changed. I really loved you. My love for you wasn't fake. Please, even if I did something wrong, I know it now, really." How ironic. In my past life, I so hoped he'd cry and beg for forgiveness, and we'd be back together. But now, when he really did, I realized the person I loved had died long ago, somewhere unknown. My calling off the wedding caused quite a stir. My dad felt embarrassed and told me never to come home again. Friends asked for details, wanting to know why, since Ryan was always the perfect boyfriend, and we were the model couple breaking up with no signs. Everyone was curious. I ignored them all. Ryan still came by a lot, even though I told him we were over. He'd just leave things at my door, sit quietly on the stairs, then, after a while, leave. The things he left, I'd throw in the trash the next day. One day, seeing him leave from my balcony, I noticed he was no longer that proud, lively boy. He seemed older, broken down. I passed my graduate school exams and left to study in Boston. The day before I left, I went to the cemetery. By Lily's tombstone, there was a bunch of daisies. I sat beside her, soaking in the sun together. The cemetery was quiet, surrounded by green trees, the sky clear and high. I felt empty but peaceful inside. "Grandpa, Grandma, Mom, Lily, I'm going to Boston. I probably won't come back often. Rest in peace here, don't worry about me. I'll take care of myself and not do anything foolish anymore." I wiped away my tears. I won't go back to Dad's house or reach out to Ryan. Maybe he did treat me well once, but hating someone is too tiring. I don't want revenge either. He truly treated me well, but he also hurt me deeply. Let's call it even. Lily, you have great-grandpa, great-grandma, and grandma with you. Don't be afraid. Mom's going to start a new life. I stayed with them for a long time under the golden, bright sunset. In the evening light, Ryan walked up the stone steps towards me, holding a bunch of daisies, and placed them in front of Lily's gravestone. Why care for someone only after they're gone when you didn't appreciate them while they were alive? No, the Ryan from my past probably wouldn't have shed a single tear even if Lily and I had died. Thinking about this, my anger rose again. Why was I with him? Why did he promise to love me forever but hurt me so deeply? In that dream, you never held Lily even once. When she was sick, you visited only once. Now you're doing these things to ease your guilt, I sneered. You don't have to, really. Back then, you didn't even know what guilt was. You were probably just relieved that Lily and I wouldn't be your burden anymore. He looked pale and in pain. But even his pain couldn't compare to a fraction of the agony I felt back then. I got up and he grabbed my hand, his voice hoarse. Clara, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I pulled my hand away, but he pulled me into a tight hug. Clara, give me another chance. This time I'll be a good husband. I'll take care of you and our child. Believe me, I know I was wrong. I regret everything, deeply. When I heard in the dream that you had jumped, I regretted it deeply. I begged the heavens for another chance. Just one more chance and I'll cherish you. Clara, I know I was wrong. I'll be a good husband, a good father. Seeing me unmoved, he held my waist and knelt in front of me, burying his head in my stomach. I really know I was wrong. Please, don't ignore me. Don't leave me. Clara, I can't live without you. I don't know how to go on with my life without you. What's the point of my pain, joy, success, or failure anymore? Clara, didn't we plan to have a family with no betrayal, no arguments, just warmth and love? I'll give you that. I'll give you everything you lacked. Just give me another chance. I really know I was wrong. The day after his proposal, he took me to the cemetery. He swore to me, to my mom, to my grandparents, that he'd give me a complete home. He said the best life would be us going out together in the morning, him dropping me off at work, us kissing each other goodbye. In the evening, whoever got home first would cook dinner for the other. He said even if we argued, we'd sleep holding each other. He said every year we'd make a family photo album with all the places we'd been and important photos. That would be our emotional bank. Even if we were mad, seeing the love in the bank would make us forgive each other. He said we'd go grocery shopping together on weekends, cook, watch movies, and walk the dog in the park. Promises are made to be broken. Even if you die, I won't give you another chance. Every kindness you showed me, you've taken back with interest. All I ask is that you don't bother me anymore. Leaving the cemetery, I looked back at him. He stood there like a statue with no soul, staring blankly ahead. Maybe that's how I waited for him countless days and nights in my past life. Later, in that cold hospital, in those quiet night wards, with each unanswered call, my soul shattered in silence. Back at school, everything I went through felt like a distant dream. I quickly got used to my new life. I went to classes, studied in the library, read my assignments, watched TV shows, and binged series. Oh, and I canceled all my old phone numbers and bank accounts. It was as if I had never existed. My memory didn't include those people anymore. My life now is filled with new people, new things, new routines, and a brand new me. With so much free time, I threw myself into reading and studying. The world of literature became my safe place. No matter how much reality hurt me, the stories always brought my soul peace. On New Year's, it snowed in Boston. I walked around campus, enjoying the quiet, snow-covered world. It was the peace I could never find in my previous life. Back then, during New Year's, I felt like an outsider in my dad's house. My stepmom's smile was cold and distant. My dad and brother were close, while I felt like I didn't belong. After marrying Ryan, we'd spend New Year's at his parents' house. Socializing with relatives made me tired. When our relationship went bad, we couldn't even pretend to be close in front of others, making me feel even worse. Now I realize, no matter how hard I tried, those who didn't like me would never like me. And those who loved me are probably all resting in peace. I went to a school cafeteria that was still open and got some fried rice and lamb skewers to take back to my dorm. Unexpectedly, I ran into an old professor on the way. She was over 60, retired, but still teaching at the school. Seeing I hadn't gone home for New Year's, she warmly invited me to her place. I couldn't refuse her repeated offers, so I accepted the kind invitation. There were only 2 people in the old professor's house, her and her husband. The whole place had a scholarly feel, with traditional calligraphy and paintings on the walls. On the table, the professor's husband was happily cooking in the kitchen. There were 3 sets of dishes on the dining table. I offered to help, and the 2 older people didn't hesitate. They asked me to wash the fruits. I was really afraid they'd ask me why I wasn't going home for the New Year. Luckily, they didn't say anything. The old professor asked about my reading progress, and her husband joined the conversation. They started talking about a book, and their vast knowledge made me feel ashamed. I said with envy, "Professor, I want to get a PhD and stay at school to become a college teacher in the future." The old professor smiled and said, "Of course you can. You have a talent for academics. It suits you. But remember, doing research takes patience. Think it through. If possible, I'd retreat to a quiet place." Why would I be afraid of being alone? Since starting my graduate studies, I feel like I've finally found what I'm meant to do in life. It's something I need to do, regardless of anyone else. After some time, the old professor cheerfully made a call, asking the person on the other end when they'd be home. After getting a response, she explained to me, "That's my youngest son. He's on his way. We'll wait for him." The old professor had two sons, one abroad and one at home. We watched TV and waited. When the door opened, I was surprised. The old professor's son was very handsome with a scholarly air. But he was Lily's former doctor, Nathan. Seeing him made my eyes water. He was a witness to that time. Seeing him brought Lily to mind. I quickly rushed into their bathroom, desperately trying to hold back my tears, but I couldn't control them. When I finally stopped crying, the reflection in the mirror showed my red eyes. When I came out, they acted as if nothing had happened, warmly inviting me to sit down and eat, chatting about other things. Their family meal was warm and happy. His brother's family abroad also joined via video call. It was lively. I didn't say much the whole time, using the bowl to hide my face as I ate, and quietly cried. After the meal, the old professor asked him to walk me back to school. It was late, and the streetlights cast a dim light. We walked slowly without talking. At the school entrance, I saw a figure standing outside. In the white snow, he wore a black coat, with snow on his shoulders. It was Ryan. I froze. What's he doing here? Nathan followed my gaze, looking confused. I said to him, "Thank you." This thank you wasn't just for walking me back, but also for the care and patience he had shown Lily during her treatment. During that time, Lily saw Nathan more often than she ever saw Ryan. She couldn't even remember what Ryan looked like, always looking forward to Nathan's visits, saying she wanted to marry him when she grew up. I appreciated that beyond his job as a doctor, he took extra steps to care for Lily's feelings. "No problem." His voice was low, sounding a bit resigned. Ryan saw us, hesitated, his gaze moving from me to Nathan, and then settled on Nathan, looking him up and down. Nathan ignored Ryan and said to me, "Let's go. It's dark and slippery. I'll walk you to your dorm." I nodded. "Clara," Ryan called me, his voice pleading. "It's New Year's today. I came to be with you." The determined Ryan would worry about me being alone, overcoming any difficulty to be with me. But time changes everything. A man's heart changes too quickly. I frowned, clearly annoyed. "Don't come here. I don't want any memories of you here." Yes, Boston and my life here were a fresh start. I wanted no connection to my past bad experiences or people. He stood there stiffly, shocked by my attitude. He probably never thought the girl who once completely depended on him would end up hating him. It's likely that in his easy life, no one had ever treated him this way. "And," I said calmly, "this is my boyfriend. Please don't bother me again or I'll call the police." Nathan put his hand on my shoulder. Ryan's body shook. Nathan and I entered the campus. "Thanks," I said to Nathan at the dorm building. "No problem. If he bothers you again, call me." We exchanged contact information. After I entered my dorm, turned on the light, and looked out from the balcony, I saw Nathan still standing there, head down, lost in thought. After a while, he looked up and slowly walked away. In the following days, I stayed in, reading in bed, eating instant noodles and bread when I was hungry. When the new year began and school started again, I tried writing academic papers and professional works. It was difficult, but I felt content, a quiet joy. I spent my days reading and researching, thinking hard about academic problems. One day before bed, I asked myself, who was that person in my memory? What was his name? What did he look like? And I couldn't remember. Relieved, I soon fell into a deep sleep. The next time I saw Nathan was at the old professor's hospital room. She had fainted during class, and we rushed her to the hospital. Nathan hurried over. I thought by then he'd be in Los Angeles. He hadn't gone to Los Angeles. Soon after, he called me, saying the cherry blossoms in the park were blooming, asking if I wanted to go see them together. I hesitated but agreed. Actually, I'd also seen news about Ryan. He had opened a branch office in Boston, and his car was often parked outside the school gate. He stood in front of the car looking at the school's photo that had been posted online. He was good-looking, drove a fancy car, naturally attracting attention. But none of this had anything to do with me. Shortly after, Nathan asked me out, and I agreed. I didn't know how much love I had left in my tired heart, but I needed to move forward. And I chose to trust Nathan because of his endless patience and love for Lily and his past life. When we held hands and appeared in Ryan's sight, his eyes seemed to hurt as he quickly took a puff of his cigarette and then drove away. Daisy came to find me as I was leaving the library, planning to get lunch. She told me Ryan had been in a car accident and hadn't spoken a word since waking up, hoping I'd visit him. I looked at the girl in front of me and sneered. Don't act for me. Just go back and tell him that even if he dies, I won't go see him. Daisy glared at me angrily. I don't understand how Ryan could like such a cold-hearted woman like you. Ha! Are you Mrs. Ryan now? She turned pale, gritted her teeth, and left. Dad came looking for me, first loudly scolding me for being ungrateful, then seriously trying to persuade me to get back together with Ryan. The family only had Ryan, and his two older sisters were already married. All the family's money would eventually go to him. This was the main thing Dad talked about with me after not seeing me for almost a year. I'm already married, I said coldly. Dad's eyes widened in shock. He slapped me again and said, "Get a divorce immediately and don't tell anyone about it." I was shocked by how much he tried to control me. How could he be so sure that I would let him tell me what to do? All right, I finally said. He sighed in relief and said, "The family's money situation isn't good. The property development isn't going well. If you marry Ryan, it'll be easier for me to ask his family for money." I smiled slightly. When Nathan came out, dressed, I was waiting for him at his office door, with a message on my phone saying he could make French food tonight. Seeing me, he was happy and kissed me. In the car, I took out a ring I had just bought from the mall. He stopped for a moment. I thought this was something the guy should do. Is this a no? No, it's a surprise. That night, I didn't leave his house near the hospital. The next day, we went to the registry office and got our marriage certificate. He helped me pack some of my things from school, and I moved into his place. We chatted and laughed along the way like a newly married couple enjoying their time together. Nathan's parents were very happy and decided to have a small wedding, as large gatherings could be tiring. We also stayed sometimes at the old professor's house. In Nathan's room, there were photos of him from childhood to adulthood. I found a picture of us together among them. We knew each other before? I was so surprised, I couldn't close my mouth. The picture seemed to be from high school. He hugged me from behind, looking at the photo in my hand, and smiled. Every time we met, you were crying. Such a little crybaby. No wonder he sighed back then. He recognized me right away. He turned me around to face him, pressed his forehead to mine, and said, "I wasn't part of your past life, but I'll take care of the rest of it. A wife's tears are a husband's failure. I don't want to be a failed husband." I smiled and kissed the corner of his mouth. A wife's tears are a husband's failure. A daughter's tears are a father's failure. That summer after high school graduation, because of the argument about choosing a major, Dad tried to control me again, and I, refusing to give in, got hit again. When I was little, my dad hit my mom. I rushed to hold her, and he slapped me so hard that I lost hearing in one ear. Remembering all the bad feelings from childhood, I ran away from home. Ryan had gone to France by then, and I suddenly went to find him. I lost my phone and wallet, didn't understand French, and on my first trip abroad, I found myself in trouble, desperately asking for help. That was when I saw another Chinese person, Nathan. Nathan helped me find the airline and went with me to the police. My documents were found in the trash, but my money and phone were gone. All the information was in the phone. I didn't remember any phone numbers and couldn't log into social media without my phone number. It felt like everything was falling apart. Back then, I didn't let my guard down. Nathan didn't seem like a bad person and was very similar to Ryan, so I trusted him without much hesitation. He helped me check into a hotel, gave me some money, and said he'd help me find my friend the next day. The next morning, he and his friends planned to take me to Ryan. During breakfast, we sat together, and I guess his friend took that photo then. At that time, I was so confused all the time. Losing my phone made me feel frustrated and useless, and I barely noticed anything else. I didn't even remember Nathan's face clearly and had long forgotten it after so many years. I didn't expect such a connection between us. Under my dad's pressure, I finally went to the hospital to see Ryan. Nathan came with me. Ryan looked worn out, with a cast on his arm and a neck brace. My dad was sitting on the couch, while Daisy, looking like a nanny, stood by his side, trying to get him to drink something. Ryan, annoyed, knocked over the soup, and his mom immediately scolded Daisy. "What are you doing? He doesn't want to eat, so stop forcing him. Can't you do anything right?" Soup spilled onto Daisy's white dress, making her look very pitiful on the verge of tears. If it were in the past life, Ryan would have immediately held her and comforted her. Now he just looked away in disgust. Seeing me, Ryan's parents were very enthusiastic, completely different from the dislike they showed when I gave birth to my daughter in the past life. When they saw Nathan behind me, they looked surprised for a moment. Ryan's eyes lit up when he saw me, though his voice was quiet. "Clara." His eyes turned red. I nodded with a small smile. Nathan introduced himself politely to everyone. "Hello, I'm Clara's husband, Nathan, and also a doctor at this hospital." He was off today and dressed casually. The room was quiet for a moment. Dad stared at me with wide eyes. I took an invitation out of my bag and handed it to Ryan, saying, "After thinking it over, I decided to give you one." The veins on his hand stood out against his pale skin. His right hand, not in a cast, seemed very heavy, shaking as he tried to lift it. His mother started scolding me, saying I was heartless, that Ryan had done so much for me, and I was being so cruel. She tried to comfort Ryan, saying a cold-hearted woman like me was better gone sooner. Daisy was crying beside Ryan, asking how I could betray his love. Dad, in anger, told me I was no longer his daughter. I smiled at them slightly and said, "All right." I didn't have high hopes for marriage. Even with Nathan being so caring, I didn't let myself get too lost in it. Unpredictable love always comes with quiet endings. I didn't want to go through that again. But we lived happily together. We were the kind of people who found peace in just reading books side by side without talking much. The wedding was 2 months later. About a month after that, I noticed my period was late, which was unusual for me. I took a test, and sure enough, I was pregnant. Fear overshadowed the joy. Of course, I was excited for new life. A new life would completely belong to me. But I was afraid it might turn out like Lily. During Nathan's lunch break, I went to the hospital to tell him. His eyes lit up with joy, and then he started talking to himself, pacing in circles. "It's only been over a month. Have you taken any medication recently?" "No." "Dyed your hair?" "No." "Been around radiation?" Oh God, that surprised me, but made me laugh, easing my worries. He came back to his senses, gently supporting me as if I were fragile. "You should sit. Don't stand for too long. Don't do housework. Don't hang clothes. And oh, I need to get non-slip flooring installed." I was speechless. I never did housework anyway. I never knew he talked to himself when nervous. "At this rate, you'll faint before I do when I give birth," I teased him. He scratched his head, embarrassed. "Sorry, it's my first time. I'm too happy. I love my brother's kids, and now having my own, I'm over the moon." He knelt in front of me, kissed my hand, and looked at me tenderly. "Honey, thank you." He hesitated and asked, "You must be excited about the baby too, right?" His actions made me laugh and cry. "Given how you are, does it seem like I couldn't bring myself to say get an abortion. It felt too cruel." He smiled, bright as the stars. I said, "What if it's a girl?" He looked at me in shock. "You prefer boys?" I opened my mouth, but before I could respond, he said, "But a mom loving boys and a dad loving girls sounds nice too." We did some tests. Everything was normal. He took a day off and was more careful than ever on our way home. After getting home, I said, I want to visit my family to see my mom and other relatives before the wedding. He gently touched my hair, his eyes soft. Okay, I'll go with you. We left quickly. The cemetery was quiet. I told him, this is my grandpa, grandma, and mom, and that's my daughter. He looked shocked, confused. I explained she was my daughter in a past life. I didn't say more. He didn't ask more. On our way out, we ran into Ryan. He had lost weight and looked sad. Seeing us, he stopped for a moment and then placed a daisy on Lily's grave. I brought Nathan back to my grandparents' house. We stayed for 2 days, and it was peaceful. The day before we headed back to Boston, I asked him, do you think we should sell this place or keep it? He looked around the old house. Keep it. It holds your memories, something to hold on to. In the local news, Dad's company was in a lot of debt and had many lawsuits against it. He looked tired and worn out on TV. I glanced at my phone and then continued eating the healthy meal Nathan had made for me. The wedding day had perfect weather, sunny with a gentle breeze. We had an outdoor ceremony with few guests and a simple plan. Ryan still came. He handed me a box and said, "Congratulations." Nathan thanked him, holding me by the waist, and placed the gift box aside. Ryan glanced at my slightly rounded belly, his eyes sad. The wedding place was decorated with fresh flowers and white curtains, showing great care. Nathan's older brother and his family had also come. My dad didn't come. He couldn't travel by plane or train because of legal problems. At the ceremony, I walked down the aisle with Nathan. During the vows, Nathan said, "I regretted missing out on you for years. Now that fate has blessed me, I won't waste this gift from heaven." He practically gave a long, emotional speech, making himself cry first, then me. During the toast, Nathan asked, "Are you tired? Go rest. I can handle this." I shook my head. "Don't you want people to see the bride?" He tapped my nose. "The bride's too beautiful. Makes me want to hide her and admire her alone." We smiled at each other. I suddenly felt hopeful for a simple, long-lasting life, where he'd write his medical papers and I'd write my books, living, like his parents did. Our first child was a boy. We were quite surprised. I always thought it was going to be a daughter, and Nathan also wanted a daughter. So the names, clothes, and shoes we prepared were all for a girl. But when our son was born, we had to start over. Thankfully, Nathan took over caring for our newborn with great enthusiasm. The old professor was too weak to help, so he hired 2 nannies for us. The chaos of welcoming a new life gradually became manageable. Despite the crying and fussing, Ryan never showed up again. I heard he married another woman from a similar family, as arranged by his parents. Though that woman was very strong-willed. She kicked Daisy out right after she got married, without any mercy. Ryan's mom and his wife argued all the time at home, fighting for control. It was quite a scene. Our son was very healthy and quite mischievous. When he was 3 or 4, he was like a little sweetheart. His soft little hands would hug my neck, he'd act cute, and constantly kiss my face with a big smile. My heart melted, and I immediately forgot the pain of giving birth to him. But by the time he was 5 or 6, he changed completely. He became rebellious, and even the family dog didn't like him. If I went to the bathroom, he'd pound on the door and yell, "Mom, Mom, open the door." He was like a little monster. When Nathan came home at night, our son would wait by the door for him. I heard Nathan ask, "Where's your mom?" Our son would say sadly, "Mom yelled at me today." Today he had insisted on grabbing the puppy's tail and even bit his ear. Even though he's my own kid, I had to teach him a lesson. Nathan would pick him up, and he'd immediately hug Nathan's neck and whisper, "Mom treats the dog better than me. When I play with the dog, she yells at me. Mom doesn't love me anymore." Then he'd hide his head in Nathan's neck, peeking at me secretly. When he saw me looking, he'd quickly hide his head again. Nathan would gently say, "The puppy is your brother. If you play nicely with him, he'll love you too." Ah, my silly son, who's even jealous of a dog. The puppy would jump up at Nathan's feet, wanting to be held too. Our son would quickly forget his anger and run around playing with the puppy again. After Nathan gave him a bath and wrapped him in a towel, he'd slide into bed with me and say sweetly, "Mom, story." I'd pinch his cheeks and read him his favorite fairy tale book. Nathan kissed both of us and went to the bathroom to shower. When our son fell asleep, Nathan would try to carry him back to his room. But he'd wake up confused and say, "No, I want to sleep with Mom." Nathan would look at him annoyed and whisper to me, "He's too clingy." I'd say, "You're all grown up and you're jealous of a kid." Nathan would rub his nose, lie next to me, and say, "I just want to give him a little sister." Ryan's epilogue. The first time I saw Clara was at her brother's 10th birthday party. The party was very fancy, showing how much her father loved his son. I was 15 that year. I went to the creek in the villa area to get some fresh air as I found the adults' excitement overwhelming. She was hugging her knees, sitting on a rock, watching the creek flow by. A golden retriever lay beside her. Later, I saw her at the party again, and her eyes were filled with deep sadness. The noisy party was different from her quiet presence. In that moment, I wanted to make her smile. She joined the middle school at my school, and her name quickly became known. She was very pretty with a sad look. Many boys liked her. During breaks, boys liked to whistle at the pretty girls from the balcony, but she wasn't used to such attention. Being shy and quiet, she'd quickly lower her head and walk away. I heard she couldn't speak and was mute. When people talked to her, she usually just smiled, a small smile. When my mom went to her house for tea, I did something I usually wouldn't. I asked to go with her. When we arrived, her brother had torn her homework to pieces. She quietly picked it up. Then her brother tried to grab the golden retriever's tail and cut its skin with a knife. She got scared, dropped her backpack, and pushed her brother. He fell and started crying. Without a word, her father slapped her to the ground. Her forehead hit the coffee table and blood immediately flowed. She didn't cry, just sat there blankly, watching them comfort her brother. She was 12 that year, and her brother was 10. I helped her up and asked her parents, "Why did you hit her?" "It was the brother who tried to hurt the dog. Can't you see?" She didn't cry when she hit her head, but after I spoke, her hot tears fell on my arm. It was really hot. Ignoring everyone's shock, I took her to the hospital. The golden retriever followed her closely. After treating her wounds, I took her to a dessert shop. She picked up a spoon and kept stirring the colorful ice cream until it melted, without taking a single bite. I later found out her mom had passed away. Her brother was born to a stepmother. Her ear was probably also hurt by her father, and one ear didn't hear well. After losing hearing in one ear, she stopped speaking. After that, I often visited her, kept her company while doing homework, and walked the dog with her in the neighborhood. Sometimes I wondered if she even knew who I was. When she was in 8th grade, I went with her to the park to walk the dog. There was blood on her white dress. She was so scared that her face turned pale. She grabbed my sleeve and showed me the blood on her hand. We rushed to the hospital in a panic, only to be told it was her first period. I went online to look up what girls should know. The next day, I took some brown sugar to her classroom. Her seat was by the window. She was writing her homework with her head down. A boy next to her was asking her questions. She wrote down the answers for him. The boy still didn't understand. So she flipped through the book, found a similar problem, and wrote down a long explanation for him. The boy scratched his head and gave her a thumbs up. She smiled. At that moment, I couldn't explain how I felt. I thought I was the only special one to her, but it turned out others could also make her smile and be with her. I turned and left. I didn't look for her for a week. I often dreamt of her at night. She was running on the lawn with the golden retriever, smiling at me, so gentle and shy. I felt sad that week. My mom asked why I didn't go to see her. I just said I had nothing in common with kids. Later, I couldn't hold back anymore and went to the park where she usually walked the dog. She seemed to be looking for something, then looked down. The golden retriever was happily jumping beside her. She hugged it and held it close. I thought, she's just a little girl. Why am I competing with her? I can do whatever I want. I still looked for her as if nothing had happened. I not only looked for her on weekends, but also often at school. Sometimes I brought her milk, sometimes snacks. Rumors spread around the school that she was my little girlfriend. Our parents didn't interfere with us. Her family stopped hitting and scolding her so much. She didn't like going home. After school, she often walked around with the dog. When she went to high school, I went to college. She started living on campus. Before school started, she texted me for the first time, saying she wanted to treat me to a meal. I was very surprised. It felt like throwing stones into a deep well and finally hearing a sound. She still brought the golden retriever. She ate very politely and didn't eat much. The places we often went were the mall for meals and the park for walking the dog. I talked a lot about high school study tips, telling her to study hard and that she should go to the same college as me. Actually, she was very smart. She didn't need me to say anything, but I liked the way she tilted her head and smiled while listening. Suddenly, she asked me, "Ryan, can you take care of the dog for me?" Her voice was light and soft, like the wind would blow it away. I was too shocked to speak. After a while, I asked, "You can talk?" She nodded. Seeing my surprised look, she seemed a bit proud, like she had played a trick. I took the golden retriever home. She rarely went home after starting high school. She only came to my place on weekends to see the dog. But she wouldn't come inside, just waited for me to bring the dog out. She started living in the old house her grandparents left her. Her mom had passed away when she was 3. Both her grandparents also passed away when she was 6. She was like a bird that had grown wings, flying to freedom. I still went with her to do homework, walked the dog, even cooked for her, just like a couple. But looking at her in the sunlight, her delicate and almost see-through skin with fine little hairs, I quietly thought, she's still a kid. Many girls at college liked me, but they weren't her. My longing for her grew stronger over time. Whether she was around or not, I always thought of her. That day, I was waiting for her at her place. She was about to take her college entrance exams, and I was going abroad for a while. I wanted to spend time with her before leaving. Through the balcony, I saw a boy following her. They were both in school uniforms. A handsome and bright boy, and a quiet and beautiful girl. The boy said a few words and messed up her hair. She turned and went upstairs. The boy watched her go and then left. I never knew she was so popular. Or maybe I did know, but didn't think just anyone could touch her hair. She still didn't talk in public, at home, or in front of classmates, as if she were really mute. Did she talk in front of that boy? I thought I was special. She saw me and called out to me. I asked her, "Who was that downstairs just now?" "A classmate." "Your boyfriend?" She shook her head. "Then why could he touch your hair?" She tilted her head and thought for a moment, saying, "Because he's a friend." "A friend? The boy who acted with you in the school play?" She had acted in a school play. She nodded. I must have looked upset because she seemed surprised and watched my face uneasily. She quickly explained, "Just a friend." "Then what about me?" I looked at her and asked, "What am I to you? Also, just a friend?" Her face turned bright red instantly. She nervously held her close and said softly, "I don't know." I took her hand and placed it on my chest. "I'm your boyfriend, got it?" Her face went bright red as she answered quietly. When she came to France, it was a pleasant surprise. We had planned her graduation trip, but seeing the person beside her, I felt a sense of danger I had never felt before. Later, I found out his name was Nathan. I kissed her in front of Nathan. After that, our relationship naturally got closer. She was very obedient. I didn't want her to talk to other boys, so she wouldn't add any boys on social media. I didn't want her to join clubs, so she read in the library or went on dates with me instead. I used to take care of her, but now it felt like she was doing things to please me. We were happy for a long time. People who knew her said I helped her heal. She started smiling more and even speaking. After we got married, she got a regular job. Every day, she waited on the sofa for me to come home. When I opened the door, she and the golden retriever would rush to hug me. I don't know when it started, but my social events got later and more frequent. The places I went became more varied. My friends came from different backgrounds. By the time I realized it, I wasn't coming home for dinner anymore. She didn't complain. Business required socializing. I was young and needed to make connections. From entertaining clients to casual dating, and then finally to drunken affairs, everything happened so fast I couldn't keep up. From the first regret and blaming myself, to later feeling lucky and then thinking, hey, I'm a guy who wasn't like this when they were young. I became more and more reckless. She spoke less and less, and when I looked at her, my heart felt heavier. The love that once felt like a mountain pressing down on me was now telling me about my irresponsibility, my selfishness, my shamelessness. I indulged myself more, numbing my feelings until the woman in my bed became Daisy. That night, our dog died, and I missed her call. Daisy was like her, but more passionate. Or, I lost myself in it, but I also felt more guilty. I even thought I no longer loved her. What was so good about her? Plain and boring like a vase, an old one at that. She didn't understand business, today's humor, or trends. Most importantly, her eyes judged me. The things that once drew me to her became the reasons I didn't love her. I couldn't face her, couldn't face the old me, and didn't want to face our daughter's illness. When I was young, I had the courage to stand up for her against her family, but when I really took her in and cared for her, when she became bright and full of life, I broke her with my own hands and left her in that long, silent wait. After she died, I found out she had postpartum depression and had been taking medication. And that family album, which hadn't been updated for a long time, photos stained yellow from tears. I didn't know what she was feeling when she jumped from that high place she feared. She left in the early morning, choosing a very quiet corner. Just like in life, she always preferred quiet, empty places, staying silent. It wasn't until after she died that I realized my love for her never disappeared. I was just blind and surrounded by darkness, allowing myself to get lost in the fog. If time went back, I would love her properly. But if it really did, her eyes would still show clear disgust for me, sharp like a sword. It's my fault. Nathan, the doctor who took care of her and Lily, ended up marrying her. She got the life she wanted, full of normalcy and peace. Even if fate gave me another chance, I would love her well. But when that chance came, she wouldn't trust me anymore. The guilt I feel for Clara is matched by my strong hatred for Daisy, even more. She even hoped to get back with me, thinking I would be kind. Clara chased her away, even told everyone at school about their affair, making the school expel Daisy because of the scandal. Daisy begged me to help her, crying a lot, saying she knew she was wrong. But she knew she was wrong, I knew I was wrong, and Clara still wouldn't come back. I didn't help Daisy. Later, when I saw Daisy again, she was with an older man. And I lived the same life as before. Parties, not coming home, self-destruction. But this time, no one was there to forgive me or wait for me like Clara did. One day, when I returned to my room in the dark, the people sleeping in my bed woke up in panic. It was my current wife, giving me a taste of my own medicine. I didn't feel sadness or anger, just a sad realization. I ruined something precious and no longer deserve happiness. It was all my fault.